everyone. I know it's been a while, but I saw this recent post from Hbox and I feel like I had to weigh in myself. So, just to give everyone some context, it was yesterday. This happened yesterday, and what it was is that Hbox, Hungrybox, one of the top players in Melee, he announced, I think it was a little less than a week ago, that he was going to have a sort of like mock Nintendo Direct, but for about Coinbox, his tournament. So he released this, tweet today with the video, and he goes into detail of his future plans with Coinbox. So yeah, without further ado, let's just watch the video, and after I react to it, I'll give my thoughts on the matter.
It is enough time to experience every single up and down that a gaming scene can offer. When a new game comes out, our competitive scene flourishes. And then, after a few years pass, it starts to slow down. And right now, there's a big question on everyone's mind. When is the next Smash coming out? And what are we going to do until then? Well, even though I've been proven to be pretty bad at predicting release dates, I think I do have an answer for the other question.
What are you cooking up, Hungrybox?
When I love doing something, I make sure to do it to its absolute fullest. This has happened twice in my life. Once with competitive Melee, where I was able to get rank 1 in the world, and the other one was with my Box Tournament series, which became the largest online fighting game weekly in the world. Ever since we broke the Guinness World Record for largest online video game bracket, I knew Team Liquid and I had created something very special. A massive, free-to-enter, free-to-watch bracket open to anyone in North America. A celebration of all things competitive in Smash, happening every single week from the comfort of everyone's homes. I'd like to believe that the Box series helped us all get through the pandemic, at least a little bit. And even when offline tournaments came back, the attendance and viewership for the Box Tournament series remained at an all-time high. When the Coinbox ended about a year ago, it presented some challenges. How could I create the same series from scratch and grow it to the same heights that it was before? Every time the Smash community has had an obstacle in its way, we always figure out a way through it. And sometimes you gotta do it yourself. I'd like to introduce everyone to the sequel of the Box series, the Cashbox. So here's how it works. Online Box tournaments will always be free to enter and free to watch for anyone. But we're giving everyone the option of being a patron, or as we're going to call them, whales. Whales get to provide more funding to our prize pools, casters, and staff volunteering to run these tournaments. And every time a new patron, or whale, signs up to our platform, we'll be increasing all prize pools by $1.25. So in other words, if we have a starting prize pool of $600, even at 400 whales, we'll have $1,000 prize pools every single week for as long as they remain subscribed. It's a brand new way to fund tournaments, and I think it's going to be really special, because funding prize pools is not the only thing you can do as a whale. We're going to give whales access to a brand new thing never done before in a competitive tournament series. It is going to be a continuous compendium. We've partnered with Metafy to create a website that allows you to vote every single week on the content that you want to see out of these tournaments. We're going to let you guys vote on the rule sets and also even the games that we play. The goal for us is to make this last for as long as possible, if not forever. I'm confident that we can reach the heights that Coinbox did, if not, go even higher. So, here's the breakdown for the schedule. The first week of every month will be Ultimate, vanilla SSBU, as you've come to know and love, with the rule sets everyone's familiar with most Smash majors. The second week of every month will be Melee. This has become another great cornerstone of the Box series, and of course one that I love competing in as well. The third week of every month will be Player's Choice Ultimate. And we're letting our whales, the patrons to our platform, vote every week on 4 characters to ban from the tournament that week. We think it'll keep things very fresh and interesting and really give the spotlight to players who don't have the chance to always make it to the grand finale. And finally, the 4th week of every month will be a variety game. That's right, we're letting all the whales choose and vote on a completely different game to run. You can vote on Smash again if you'd like, but you can vote on Rivals of Aether, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. Heck, any game that comes to your mind, you could vote for. And whatever the people want, we will run a tournament for. To cap it all off, we're adding one more twist to the box tournament series. At the end of each tournament, around midnight, we're going to be doing an official Thug Finals. We are going to be letting our whales choose a worthy opponent to go against our champion to compete for an extra $200 cash prize every single week. We're doing so to give the players that are the people's choice, the most entertaining, the most flashy, or the most hype, one last chance to get the last laugh against that tournament's victor. And so, that's going to be how the Cashbox works. It's going to be a self-sufficient tournament funded by the community and for the community. It's going to be brought to you by you. And after I put in my $25,000, I hope that anyone who's been a fan of mine, anyone who's been watching this tournament series for the past few years, anyone who's been competing in it, even if you can't, just make sure you keep entering, make sure you keep watching. But if you can go the extra mile and become a patron or a whale to the Cashbox, I think we can have something that lasts forever. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you for the very first Cashbox happening very soon.
Okay, so that's the end of the video. So, so let me actually give my my thoughts on the whole situation, because I actually made a tweet about the whole situation, but I made this tweet after I saw a friend of mine, Mech, tweet about this. And so he says that he won't be supporting this and that all opportunity in Smash is fake except Mana Monthly. And the root of the problem is not being addressed. The reason that, SSBM hacks, he died, is not being addressed by you. Why do you keep putting resources towards tournaments that ban, players wrongfully? And honestly, I agree. Because after he made his post, I made a post of my own. So here actually was my tweet on the whole situation, right? And that this is what I said, because in the video he was like, "Oh, very soon it's going to be my 20th year anniversary playing Smash Brothers," right? And it's like, that's nice, right? But you want to guess who else was nearing 20 years in the scene? Hacks. But did anyone factor that in when he was banned for years with no hope of being let back in? Of course not. And I also say myself that I can't in good faith support anything that HBox is doing when he promised after Hack's death to mediate bans. But then when my friend Mech asked about it, he completely folded. Also, HBox, are you going to ban Salt from this due to them celebrating Charlie Kirk's death and wishing death on Zion and others? Something tells me you won't, but Zion is banned for hate speech. And just to say, for what you guys are saying about the mediation thing, so here's what happened. So right after Hax's death, okay, give me a sec. So it was damn near right after Hax's death that Hax, HBox, he said that in order to make sure that this will never happen again, that he will host a mediation between banned players like my friend Mac, and mainstream people in the scene, people like Salt, people like Magi, and other people. And that sounded very promising, right? Of course. And then if I recall, it was like a month or so later that Mac, he makes his tweet where he's like, "I'm calling on all top players and community leaders to support this for the sake of safety, transparency, and solidarity. Like, please advocate for HBox to mediate a conversation between me, Salt, and MOF. They are able and willing. So that's the context, right? And then, because, as I said, HBox said that he would be the guy to help mediate to stop this stuff from happening. You know what his response was after, he made a promise and he was asked to deliver? And here's what happened. He then posts this, hey, Mac, I saw your video and messages and wanted to respond here. It's taken me a few days to gather my thoughts about this, so I appreciate your patience. After I offered to mediate community issues in memory of hacks, I've had people, I wonder who those people were. I've had people reach out to me asking to use my platform as a beacon for their voices. My original intent was to provide a safe space for honest dialogue, especially with those willing to take responsibility for past actions and their impact. My hope was that we could move forward together and prevent further harm. I understand people are threatening harm to you at this moment, which I condemn. That is an understatement. The man has not only been threatened with harm, he's actively been doxxed and almost swatted. And it's not just been one time. People have constantly sent him death threats and, doxed him and done all this stuff. So that's an understatement. However, after speaking to others, I realized very recently that I'm not equipped to handle this kind of role, especially when it comes to speaking for marginalized communities or those who have experienced harm. It requires a level of maturity, kindness, and experience that I honestly don't have, and am still learning. By trying to act as a mediator, I would be instead making some voices louder than others, and I don't believe that I should have that level of authority over community issues, including who we consider good or bad and who should be forgiven. I spoke from a place of grief. Even writing this, I'm frustrated at myself for making promises I can't keep. In an honest attempt to mend the many chasms that currently exist in Smith, I only saw how I wasn't capable of bridging that gap. To those who saw my offer and are now disappointed by my change of heart, I apologize. But this is up to you. If you have hurt the community with your words or actions and sincerely regret your past, there are ways to show that you've changed, while also being sensitive about the wounds you've inflicted. My hope is for there to be a more official path forward for these individuals seeking redemption somehow. Lastly, I will use this tweet to say point blank that I do not endorse doxing or threats because I do not believe that they are productive to any solution. As someone who has experienced doxing and threats firsthand, it goes beyond beliefs and arguments, instead into a territory of actual danger towards individuals and their families. I ask that everyone refrain from this kind of behavior. I'm going to be frank. This is a load of bullshit. And I'm going to explain why, right? So I said the context of this tweet. Let me just point out some very particular phrases in this, the word I'm looking for. What's the word I'm looking for? Well, I would say ass saving, but this corporate speak that he's doing. So this part in particular, right? However, after speaking to others, I realized very recently that I'm not equipped to handle this kind of role. Okay. First off, who were you speaking to? Something tells me the people that he was speaking to was other TOs and other, high-ranking people in the community. The same people who colluded together to get Hacks banned and keep him banned until his untimely passing. And then, for marginalized communities or those who have experienced harm. It's like, to all the people who claim that they've experienced harm, their harm is that you said a mean word to them or something. When when they say harm, that's what they mean. But when someone like me or my friend says harm, aka what we mean is that people are sending us death threats, people are trying to dox us, people are doing all kinds of just crazy shit to us. That's the difference. You know, people like Mech, people like Hacks, they actually, experience harm. The man was damn near driven to suicide and lost half of his right leg. That is harm. That's real harm. Someone saying a mean word to you is not actually harm. It's not. And then this part too. It requires a level of maturity, kindness, and experience that I honestly don't have. And I'm still learning. It's like, okay, hold on one second. How old is this nigga? This dude is 32 years old. 32 years old. What the fuck do you mean you don't have that level of maturity, kindness, and experience? You're 32 years old. How do you not have that type of experience? You're a grown adult. What are you talking about? And it's crazy too. So, and then this part, too, I don't believe that I should have that level of authority over community issues, including who we consider good or bad and who should be forgiven. He says that, but this is the same guy that because Zion said mean things to assault another player, they immediately banned them from their tournaments and was shitting on them and calling them evil. So it's like, so that's hilarious. You're saying, oh, I shouldn't have that level of authority. Well, you've done that plenty of times before. So you can't claim that you don't have that authority when you do. And it's like, oh, even writing this, I'm frustrated at myself for making promises I can't keep. Well, motherfucker, this wouldn't be the first time. Because he made a big, bold promise, just like this, when it came to the whole SWT situation. So in the video, because he was talking about how the Coinbox was, it was made during the pandemic, around like late 2021 and onward. And he says that when the Coinbox ended, right? That's all he says. He doesn't tell you why it ended. You want to know why it ended? It ended because the Smash community actively sabotaged Panda Cup. They actively sabotaged Panda Cup, completely destroyed the company, and they basically dared Nintendo to make the SWT run its stuff, even though they didn't have the proper documentation or paperwork that Panda Cup had. They tried to bully Nintendo like they did back in 2013 when going to Evo, but it didn't work. And the Nintendo basically made it so that now if you want to run a big tournament or anything of that sort, you need to now go to them and get a license. That wasn't the case before, but now it is. And specifically, Nintendo does not like it when, people mod their IP. So, and if anyone knows anything about Melee, it's that Melee is not built with internet. It doesn't have a built-in, online mode. That's specifically Slippy, the online mode for Melee now. That's a mod. And there's other mods that Melee basically needs to run properly. It's like UCF. Stuff that Hacks was trying to push in the scene. Those are all mods that Nintendo does not like. And so, basically, and then Technicals, he made a whole video, detailing this entire thing. And then there was a particular clip where he clips, Hbox, where Hbox is yelling and saying, "Oh, I'm still gonna run my tournaments. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, and there's nothing no one can say to stop me," basically. And then, of course, right after he said that, like literally the next day, he's like, "Oh, well, Nintendo sent me basically a cease and desist, and we're gonna have to remove Melee Coin."
I'm running Coinbox. I'm gonna keep running it in January. I'm gonna keep running it in February, and March, and April. I will run it every fucking week until I receive word from them directly. I think the sacrifice that we're gonna have to make is to remove Melee Coinbox. Legally, I just don't see a way around it.
It's like, so this is not the first time that this idiot has made a big, bold promise and then completely folded when given any type of pushback. So he's known for doing this. It's just, you can't just like wash that away with just, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And then other parts that I really have an issue with here, if you have hurt the community with your words or actions and sincerely regret your past, there are ways to show that you've changed while being sensitive about the wounds you've inflicted. How, motherfucker, how? Can you please give us an example of this? Because anyone who's been paying attention with the whole Hacks situation, Hacks made a video about Leffen, criticizing Leffen, and honestly, I'm sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, it was just unhinged." I don't think it was unhinged. I think that the worst you could say is that he was being too earnest, and maybe went a little too far at some parts. But I'm not going to say it was unhinged because most of the video was actually quite factual. It really was. And I don't think he should have apologized. He shouldn't have apologized for fucking anything. But basically, throughout the entire time, he apologized like 5-6 times over and over and over again. You can just luckily there is a YouTube channel named the Hacks Archives that basically archived all of his videos where he's, talking about the evidence.zip and, his apologies. He apologized multiple times, and you can just see after every one, he just looks more and more disheveled, more broken. And it's like just seeing him just fall apart like that. And he kept on apologizing. But did these people care? No. It's like, oh, we need to be sorry. It's like, oh, well, this guy who was sorry and made it quite clear, and anyone who was telling him not to apologize actively disavowed them. They still didn't let him back in, and he eventually died of his suicide. Like, he committed suicide a few months before, and then basically you could say he died of a broken heart. So if that's what other option is there supposed to be? Because apologizing doesn't work. It really doesn't work, bro. What else do you want me to do? And it's like, oh, my hope is there to be a more official path forward for these individuals seeking redemption. Why don't you do anything? Why can't you? It's like, when I watched the video, because I watched it last night before I did this, what really came to me is because if you don't know, because Hacks was banned in 2021, and then but Hungrybox allowed him to play in his tournaments because he wasn't permanently banned until early 2024. And the last Coinbox, the last Melee Coinbox was, if I recall, it was on October 7th, 2023, in that area. And of course, a few months later, Hacks gets permanently banned. Something I think that if the tournaments were still going on, Hungrybox would have definitely banned Hacks when Hacks was globally banned, because as you can tell, Hungrybox is not someone who will stand by his own principles if it loses him money. He's not that type of person. It's very obvious. And so what really annoys me is that Hungrybox he's rich, very wealthy, is very powerful. He, is a co-owner of Liquid, partner with Coinbase, giving so much money. Why couldn't you, I don't know, make a tournament series with Hacks and do that to help, maybe force the issue to the forefront and make it so that people are, tournaments are forced to ban him or to unban him. There's so many things that you could have done, but you just didn't because you wanted to keep, you wanted to keep your standing in the scene. And then after he dies, now it's the sob story, and I wish I did it. I wish I did more. Yeah, okay. How convenient. After the guy's dead, now it's I should have done more. He says, lastly, I will use this tweet to say point blank that I do not endorse doxing or threats because I do not believe that they are productive to any solution. Okay, if you actually believe that, then why is it that when Salt, the top Captain Falcon Melee player in the world, when Salt, the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he was murdered, that in the Melee online Discord, the largest online, Slippy Discord, him and so many others were cheering on Kirk's death. Did you ban them from your tournaments? Oh, no, of course not. What you did was actually start, basically banning or, starting to block people who was pointing that out in your Twitter replies. So it's like, fuck out of here with that. I don't even think you believe that yourself. So miss me with that bullshit. And then it's like, oh, as someone who's experienced doxing and threats firsthand, it's like, I wonder why you experienced the doxing and threats. I wonder why. I don't know. Could it have been about Leffen? I think we forget a bit, but it's, you remember that Leffen specifically went after Hbox and made him the devil of the Melee scene. Just literally just making shit up and doing all this bullshit towards him and making him out to be the worst guy ever. It's like he is largely responsible because, of course, Hbox had, haters beforehand because he played Puff, but Leffen was like, you could say there were sparks, but, Leffen really threw the match. He threw the match that really ignited everything. And you'll never, he just pretends like that didn't happen. It's like, what the fuck, man? That's bullshit. And your friend, Hacks, part of his video was actively calling Leffen out for that shitty behavior. And did you go out to help him in his defense? No, you didn't. You basically let him rot. But that's with that tweet. And so there's other tweets that I want to show too, right? And that I saw, right? This guy, Ramswart, he's like, zero crypto funded. What is the context here? Has the Smash scene been getting into rug pull shitcoins as of late? If a tournament had, ETH or BTC, Ethereum or Bitcoin as the prize money, then I'd be all over it. Why is the 0% crypto funded as if it's some kind of cultural dub? And yeah, man, it's annoying because the FGC, if you've just been living under a rock, the FGC hates crypto. And if you don't know, as I said before, the Coinbox, which is now called the Cashbox, it was called the Coinbox specifically because it was sponsored by Coinbase. Coinbase is a cryptocurrency wallet company. So, that's the reason why basically every weekly had a $2,000 prize pot because it was being funded by crypto. Of course, all these people, during its, existence, always had something to say about, crypto, blood money, evil, but these people still played. They still played in the event, and it's like, yeah. You're all whores for money. All these people complaining about this. So annoying. It's just like, it's faux, it's virtue signaling. You don't actually care. You're just doing it because you think that it will make you look better. Another thing that I want to talk about is that I think it's very convenient that, Hbox, because if you don't know, during the whole, Panda Cup, debacle, who else was really, helping, basically egging on people to, attack Panda Cup, HBox. He made like 8 different videos covering the whole situation with a very biased lens. You could just tell they were very low effort. He didn't do much research or bother to ask like important questions. And, he's a top player. Someone like him could probably go to the CEO of Panda and ask him questions. But did he do that? No. What he did was just, tweet and do stuff like that. And so people like him are responsible for our community being in the shit that it's in right now. Like, people forget this, but we literally, with Panda Cup, we literally had our foot in the door. The CEO of what's the CEO of a Panda again? I forgot his name. Oh, Dr. Allen. That was his name. Yes. Like, Dr. Allen, like, people don't remember. I don't think people even understand the ramifications of what Dr. Allen did. It took him years, but he was able to get to Nintendo, make a deal with them, and get an official licensing from them. They were officially sponsored by them. And because they were officially sponsored, companies were way more willing to, get involved and sponsor them. And then like the last year, the end of year event had like over $2 million prize pool. That's the largest in history in our scene. And we had everything. And unlike SWT, Panda Cup was, restricted to the US, but you just know that over time, because you know how business, that stuff works, you don't just let everything doesn't happen over at once. This happens over time. And I have no doubt in my mind, if this thing was let to, to survive, that it would eventually have become global. And they went through the hard effort of doing all of that. But do you know who didn't like that? People like, SWT, Smash World Tour. And who ran that? Fucking Gimmer with VGBC. You know who else was against that? Beyond the Summit. And so what they did was take a bunch of screenshots of DMs from Dr. Allen out of context and use that to ferment, hate towards them. And then basically forced them to cancel their, their end of the year event. And what's so corrupt about it is because they knew that, because Panda went through the effort of actually, talking, making a deal with, Nintendo, that at the end of the day, that they were going to be rendered obsolete, because that's just how it works. Like in other FGC games, where they have, the publishers backing, people like, Tekken with Bandai Namco, with Tekken World Tour, Street Fighter with Capcom Cup, these places, there's only one of that. Like, there are tournaments that register under, said, event, but there's only one Tekken World Tour. There's not Tekken World Tour and then like another like circuit. That's not how that works. So I think they saw the writing on the wall that over time they were going to be basically rendered obsolete. People like Gimmer with VGBC, and even people like Beyond the Summit. Literally with Beyond the Summit too. And these people have the fucking nerve to yell at Nintendo and be like, oh, Nintendo's so draconian and all this shit. And Beyond the Summit, like Technicals, he did an expose on this. He showed that Beyond the Summit in particular, their licensing thing was even way more strict than even Nintendo. Way more strict. And they were charging people upwards of $1,000+ just to stream their tournament per day. Which is just absurd. These people have the nerve to accuse Nintendo of being corrupt when they were by far the most corrupt people. Not even close. Not even Nintendo was that draconian. So it's like, I'm just... like, these people, man. These people are evil. I have even more criticisms for it, because it's like, he acts like this, this thing is just like, the way he was saying it, like, this thing is new. It's never been done before. It's like, really? This just sounds like Matcherino, but with extra steps. Like, it's already been done in the FGC before. Oh, crowdfunding, people funding money. Like, wow. So unique. So unique. Also, like this character ban shit, this is not a good idea. Like you're basically opening yourself up, Nintendo shutting you down again because I don't know about you, Nintendo doesn't feel nice about people being able to ban certain characters. And how even it's just dumb because there's two things that are going to happen. One, you're basically going to only ban like you like if he makes it so that people can choose every week and they don't have a limit to they can choose the same people the same characters every single week, they're basically going to ban, Sonic, Steve, and a bunch of other like really annoying characters every week. So one, if you go down that route, that's just going to make people, less equipped to fight those people. And then when, when they fight Japanese players or other people from other regions, they're going to get creamed because those people don't abide by those bans. Or two, if that's not the case, then you're going to make it so that people have to choose different characters every single week. And then it's like, then there's going to be people who have characters who are like, they're solo mains. And then, because today we're going to ban your character. And, well, that's bullshit. Either way, it's screwed. Either way, someone's getting screwed over. And I don't think that's fair at all. And it just leads you to it just opens you up for Nintendo to fuck you. So, hey, man. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. I really hope that this crashes and burns. Just like how these people crashed and burned Panda. You don't get to put us in the situation that we are and then pretend like and then offer the solution to the problem that you caused. You don't get to do that. Like, fuck you, man. So sick of it. And again, of course, these tournaments, like a friend of mine, Dalton, he's like, I was genuinely excited about this until I realized that all the top players I'd want to support are banned from competing. I'll list some of these top players. Zion. Zion is a top 10 level player in the world. A Fox main. He was at Mana Summit and he won. And the kid is genuinely talented. But he's banned. And you want to know why he got banned? He got banned because he reposted a Stone Toss tweet, bro. Mac has also been banned. Best Ganon player. No, people like No Fluxes. Other good Ganon player. Eichelman. There's so many other people who've been banned for bullshit reasons, and they're not going to be able to play because they're banned. So it's like, is this even a real tournament? How is it a real almost forgot about Manalord. Manalord. Best Zelda player in the world. The initial reason that he was banned was because it was back in the day, he wanted to run a tournament where people were not being banned. And I'm not talking about Mana Monthly. This was way before that, like years ago. And because he refused to hold this tournament to run by the bans that were decided by the community, basically he got banned. How can you even call this real and fair competition when so many of your top player base has been banned for like nothing? And it'd be one thing if they were banned because they actually, promoted violence. I don't know, like Salt and so many other people. Salt, Leffen, none of these people are banned, but the other ones they're banned. Zion's banned though. I couldn't even come to this because this is on I think it's what day is it? I think it's on a Wednesday. Yeah, it's let me check the day.
Every for I think one of the box transfer questions or things can the same.
Yeah, it's on Wednesday, and that day in particular, I have work late. So I couldn't even go here if I wanted to, but let's just say I had a day that I could come and play. I'm not playing in this shit. I'm not. I cannot in good, as I said in the tweet, I cannot in good conscience play in an event like this that is just supporting the corruption of the scene. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I think no one who's being honest with themselves can. And, you know what? I almost forgot. There's one more person I want to talk about. And you want to guess who that person is? Oh, you can't guess? Let me show you. It's Mewtwo King, the Eternal Fence Sitter. Because after, HBox posted that tweet, Jason, he says, I'll be entering some of Hungrybox's online tournaments moving forward and streaming it, you know? And it's like, I don't want to be the asshole, but someone's gotta be. I'm sorry, Jason Mewtwo King, he's a whore for money, and someone needs to say it. And not even just for money. He's a whore for just the chance of being able to make money. Small, and not even like substantial money in the long run. I have a video that's going to be coming out about this. It's gonna be in detail. But Jason was offered a very substantial, life-changing amount of money. But he rejected it because of the most just retarded reason possible. And I'll explain more of it in the video that I have coming up very soon. So it's like, when I see this guy on his streams constantly complaining about how, I have to, shill HelloFresh 24/7 to have money. I need money. This sucks. It's like, you can't reject a deal like that and then do this. Like, I cannot take you seriously. Every day I just see this shit, I just lose more and more respect for him. I can respect someone like Salt or all these people because they're honest. They're honest about who they are. They're honest about where their loyalties lie. But then it's like Mewtwo King and people like HBox. These people are the eternal fence sitters. They've actively been fucked over by their own community, like countless times, and they've given so much to said community, but they get criticized for it for the stupidest reasons all the time, both of them. But then they will focus their energy on the alternative scene, making sure to say, oh, I don't associate with bigotry and blah, 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 all this bullshit. Like, we're not the ones attacking you like this. It's them. It's like, oh, man. It's just so annoying. It's the same shit over and over and over again. I'm tired of it, and someone's got to say it. Like, people like Technicals and them, like, they're friendly with Jason. They're friendly with HBox. It's like, I can see why, but it's like, I don't have the same, partnerships. I am not friendly with these people. These people, honestly, like, the more and more they just do this shit, I and the rest of the alt scene lose more respect for them each and every day. Come on, man. Pick a side. You can't, on one hand, say you're campaigning for Aziz and Hacks and what happened to him was horrible. But then, on the other hand, also then be, enter in and be complicit with the group of people who are also responsible for his death because they didn't bother once to make a public statement about Hacks. Again, like, for example, he recently played, had a stream with Cody. Fucking Cody. It's like, you do remember that Cody was one of the biggest people who got Hacks banned initially, and the reason he wanted to get Hacks banned is because Hacks made fun of him for him telling Hacks a whole 5-hour plus story about how he fucked his mom, which was a complete lie. And so Hacks made fun of him for it, and because then he says, "Oh, you were mocking my sexual assault. You should get banned." Like, fuck this guy. Like, I'm just sorry. I'm not gonna be friendly or nice to someone like Cody or all these people. I just couldn't do it, and I get it because he said that that Cody helped him with some monetary financial stuff, and I get that, but it's like what he did is unforgivable. There's got to be a lot. If he can do that, then you can just be friendly with him again. He can basically do anything to you, and you'll just be fine with it. Anyone else who is against this corruption that's going on in the scene, you can't join this. Can't be a whale, basically a pay pig for these people. You can't do it, and I'm not gonna do it. And I don't care if my boycott doesn't have an effect. At a certain point, you just got to do what's right at a certain point, because if you don't, no one else is going to. But yeah, that's all I have to say on the matter. I hope to see you next time. Have a good one.